alive.
Hello.
You're alive. Thank you.
And just like that, we're live. Hi, Facebook. Hi, IG. We are live.
Hello. How are you feeling?
I feel good. It's been a long day, a very, very long day.
Yes.
We are here.
But you're here. You're here.
Yeah.
We'll give a couple of seconds for people to jump on. But I'm excited to be here today. We're launching something you've been working on for a while, right? Something you've been working on for a while. We will get into this very soon. But how does it feel to be holding this?
Full circle.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I hold it, I feel like I relive the past 5 years all over again, because this was a labor of love for over a 5-year period, pretty much. This is a counting of 5 years of just deep work.
Yeah.
A lot of healing.
Yeah.
And a lot of reflection.
Okay.
And a lot of wisdom that came through.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was something that the world needed to have a piece of, because it was something that came through and not from. And whenever that's the case, it's meant to, be shared with the world. We all need deep healing. I feel like, because the journey started during COVID, and I felt like the world in general, we were collectively going through a lot of trauma and a lot of having to live through a very drastic change.
Yeah.
Of having so much time with ourselves and just having to figure out, okay, who am I? There's no distraction. And so I felt like it was it's a book that I feel like people need at this time in life, with everything going on, just to figure out who they really are and connect back to self.
Great.
Because everything starts with the self.
That's right. Well, welcome everyone that just tuned in. I see you. Can you go ahead and give us a wave? I see it says wave. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We're so happy you're here. If you were here in the beginning, you heard a little bit about this book and really the heart behind it. But let's start with some introduction. I'm not the important person here, but my name's Nettie. I'm owner and founder of ETL. It's a business coaching service and marketing service. And I have the awesome opportunity to introduce y'all to, I call her Nettie, I call her Nettie, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so my name's Antoinette Njomba Fombat, as most people know me on socials and, professionally, but I go by Nettie.
That's right.
And that's why I feel like it's more like because I'm an easy person. Little background about that name, just so we know, because it ties into like everything with it being the name of my website and why I chose that. I was named that by my college friends, and it was actually Nettie Love.
Oh, I love that.
I know. And it's funny because I never really understood why.
Yeah.
And so I asked, why Nettie Love? They're like, oh, you get it someday. And I finally got it.
Wow.
And they finally told me it's because to just give me the name Nettie Love. So I've gone with Nettie ever since. It's easy, and I feel like people gravitate more towards it, and that's why I chose it for the website. I feel like it's a new era. It's a new beginning.
Yeah.
So my name is Antoinette Njomba, but I go by Nettie, and I'm the author of this labor of love, as I keep calling it right here.
Yes.
And I've been a coach. I've been in the coaching space for about 5 years. I started my coaching journey when COVID happened, and like I said, we were all living through a lot of changes and figuring out what we really wanted to do in life.
Yeah.
And I gravitated towards coaching because it felt so natural. It came natural to me. I felt comfortable sitting with people and reflecting with people, and going into really deep reflections and finding solutions. So, and that's the core. Finding solutions is the core of coaching. Yeah. So I started coaching, and then I started writing. My reflections. I was always a very intuitive person, but I never really wrote. until COVID started. And I started writing and journaling.
I think a lot of people started writing during COVID. Yes. I started writing it a little bit more.
Yes. I started journaling.
Yeah.
And I started like healing from a lot of like trauma, like past trauma that I never really addressed.
Yeah.
Because upon my reflections, I recognized that a lot of my, trauma wounds were affecting my relationships, affecting my life, affecting how I interacted with people.
Yeah.
So I wanted that change. I wanted to feel free. I wanted to be free to myself again. And that's literally what led to this, is freedom to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. What a transition. I think it's something that she didn't mention is that she's also a nurse.
Yes.
So you're a mother, you're a wife.
Yes.
You're a community leader, an author now, coach. How do you balance those different facets of you, and how do they show up in this book?
That's a very beautiful question, and it's one that I actually address a lot in this book.
Right.
And we can call it polarity, we can call it duality, but it's all the same, yin yang.
Yeah.
Life is dual. And I really believe, and the core foundation of this book is helping people recognize that life happens for us, not to us.
Right.
Because no matter how life happens, it will happen, right?
Yeah.
We will have to go through. It's like life is it's like a wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is like a heartbeat. If you think about it, it's like a wave. Even a heartbeat is like a wavelength.
Yeah.
You go through the ups and you go through the downs. You're going to experience all the facets of what life has to offer for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's inevitable. It's part of your journey.
Yeah.
You're going to be a mother. You're going to be a worker. You're going to be a sister. You're going to be a friend. And we all have to navigate all these interactions and all these environments, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
And coming into full acceptance to begin with, understanding that life is dual and the polarity exists for you, not against you.
Mm-hmm.
It helps to transition you from each environment. So I juggle all because that's what life gave me.
Yeah.
And I've accepted that that's what life gave me. Most people wonder, how do you do it all? It's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy. I'll tell you that. It's a hard job. But, I just go through I transition through every space, with gratitude. Like, I get to be a mother. I get to be an author.
Yeah.
I get to be a wife.
Mm-hmm.
I get to be a nurse. I transition my focus on that.
Yeah.
And when I'm tired, I take a break. But then I don't curse what life has given me. I stay grateful for it instead. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. I think it's so telling of the heart behind this book for someone who is in all those different facets of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're still talking about the healing through those facets of life. And from what you're saying, it's in leaning into that I am dual, right? Mm-hmm. There are different things in me that can sometimes bring healing to you. And I think you talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely.
I'd love you to share with us, who is this book for?
Okay. So this book is for any individual who is trying to figure out exactly who they are, self-identity to begin with, trying to figure out who you are, trying to change beliefs and values that you've been stuck with all your life and subconscious programming that maybe you don't feel that connected to, and you want a different way of something to trigger you to find your own purpose and find your own meaning in life. This book is for that person. This book is for somebody that is struggling to integrate into their communities and their environments, because you don't have to leave your community to detach. And that's the first stage of the book. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But some environments are stressful for certain people, and people are like, oh, I don't want to have to leave my community because I have to start all over. You don't have to leave. You just have to restructure how you identify in that community. Mm-hmm. And so this is also for that individual who is struggling to re-identify themselves in their community and to find that trust in themselves to recreate their life or create a new pathway for themselves. Yeah. This is for women who have lived through stigmas. Like I talk about my journey here, how I was a girl child, and the trauma that I had to live through just being a girl child. Women who struggle like that. This is for individuals who find themselves like not belonging, in certain environments or in their environments. And I want people to recognize that belonging is self first. Self-belonging is true belonging. Because you have to belong to yourself before you belong to other. And the reason why we struggle to belong is because we don't belong to ourselves. So that is a very big topic that I talk about here.
Yeah.
And this is for somebody that's also just looking for a guide, a transformational guide to stay on the path where they are, or to reinforce where they already are. So it's a very versatile book. And there's something really particular about it. I'm going to dive right into it. We're here.
Let's do it. That's what we're here for.
I wrote it with the intention of it being like a table book. So it doesn't matter if you pick up this book anywhere in the world and you open it up. It doesn't matter what page you land in. It will add value to your life.
Wow.
Even if you read just a single page.
Wow.
You leave there knowing something has been added to your life. And now it was written on purpose. You don't have to start from chapter 1. You can start from anywhere in this book. That's why I wrote it as a guide, so you can use it throughout your life. It's not a one-time read. It's you can always go back to reference.
Yeah.
So I thought about that, and I really wanted to create something of that nature, so we can have that resource for longevity.
I think that is so important, and that is something that is not applicable to a lot of books, right? It's also almost indicative of, again, the heart behind it. No matter what stage you are, no matter what facet you are reading this book, if you're reading as a mom, if you're reading as an author, if you're reading as a community leader, there is value here. And it's almost like, the way I'm seeing it is like saying there's value in you where you are right now.
There you go.
And I love that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You are innately valuable. Wherever you are in your life, whatever you're dealing with in your life right now, it doesn't matter whether you're struggling. We talk about it a lot in this book.
Okay, we're back.
Sure.
Sorry.
Self-awareness and self-connection.
Yes.
Which leads me to self-connection. And I know it's a new term, but I feel like it's really the link to us rediscovering ourselves and showing up into the world as authentically as possible. Now, what is self-connection? Self-connection is owning your authenticity and owning your connectivity, your unique connectivity to your environments as independently as possible. But here's the kicker: with conscious intention. Because that's when you really are authentic, and that's when you really live a more balanced life, because it's coming from a conscious place, an intentional conscious place. Because most people could say, oh, I'm authentic, I don't care what people say. But at the end of the day, you live in an environment where you have to interact with people, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So you can't just say, oh, I don't care. You have to be intentional about what you're contributing. And you're accountable. And that's the good thing about self-connection, because it keeps you even more accountable and more responsible in your environments as you go out there. But it encourages you to show up authentically. Yeah. And to accept that wherever I'm starting from, whatever I have to offer in this environment is valuable. And that's where true synergy comes in, which is the last stage of the book, which talks about integration.
Great. Yeah. Great. I love that you mentioned that. I want us to go deeper into that and break it down into an example. So I know throughout the book you bring up different life examples of this journey that you've had through the 4 principles that you walk us through. Can you share with us a tangible example of what it means to show up daily, maybe in your life, in that spirit of self-connection, in that authenticity? What does that actually look like practically as we're walking? Okay.
So I'll give you a small example. If you say, I have a problem, right, with somebody, and that person is part of my community, so I have to deal with them. So the first thing to do with detachment, whether you like it or not, you have to deal with people, right? You have to now detach the emotional connection that you already have to how you feel about that relationship. That's where detachment comes in. Like if you say, okay, I feel anger towards, I'll use myself as an example. Like when I was pregnant with my daughter, I went through so much transition, like trying to figure out, okay, like my community is not going to accept me. How am I going to go through this? So I literally had to detach myself from the idea that I was a taboo for being pregnant that young. I was a failure. I had to detach myself from that. That's the first stage. And then I reawakened to. So am I a taboo because they say it, or is it true? So now you're reawakening now to a new idea. Oh no, it's not. It's not true. I'm still a person. I'm bringing a child into this world. It's a gift. And guess what? I can still be successful with or without my young pregnancy. And then you switch now to actualizing, which now you actually start manifesting actionably what you've created or what you've switched to. Now I show up. It doesn't matter if people look at me funny or whatever. I show up because I know that I'm okay. I'm innately still myself, and I'm innately still valuable, and pregnant or not. So I don't have that stigma. I don't feel that discomfort when I'm around those people anymore because I'm sure of myself. And then slowly they start to come around now because you attract what you are.
You're in your full self.
We know that about the law of attraction. You attract who you are and what you are. And then you start integrating now into your community, showing up, okay, I may be pregnant, but I've learned my lessons and I'm still valuable and I'm still going to be successful. And I want to be an example to somebody else in my community to see that we're not our mistakes. We may make mistakes, but we are not our mistakes. We're meant to just learn from our mistakes and use that as data to actually grow our lives.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I love the 4 steps because it's something that we can take in our lives. Even daily, you can put yourself throughout the steps. And one more thing that I really loved about what you're saying is there is accountability in all of those steps, right? So I want to make sure that we all know that in terms of detachment, it's not saying the problem doesn't exist, or it doesn't say the issue doesn't exist. It's not validating your emotions. It's saying in spite of, I am still. And I love that you said that.
Absolutely.
I love that you said that. Because that resonates with me.
Absolutely. In spite of. And even if it is. It still has a purpose.
That's great.
The problem is the focus. If you focus on the negativity of it, then that's what you get. You create what you focus on. Whatever you focus on, that's what you create. But if you focus on the lesson from it, if you focus on what it comes to, because everything comes to grow us. I don't care every single thing that you go through in this life comes with a lesson, comes to grow you. It's just where your focus is. So if you focus on what really matters, which is what is coming to give you, what is coming to teach you, then you see it as a gift.
Okay.
And I know it's really hard for us to live that way.
Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you, like, if someone is watching this right now, who's hearing this, but they're like, I'm not seeing that gift. I understand what you're saying. What are tips that you've seen in your life that maybe in the book that maybe you can share now for someone to see the gift within a problem?
Okay. A really big one that I feel like there's something that I'm really tapping into, and I plan on doing workshops on it. I really want to study it even more, is reflective awareness. Reflective awareness.
Okay.
It's a really, really beautiful practice because it focuses on just the truth of your situation. Without the emotional attachment, without the ego trying to present itself and take over. It focuses on what the truth is, not how you feel about it necessarily, but what it is. And if you look at just what it is, then it becomes data. And you can break it up and you can now see, okay, this happened and maybe it led to this. Maybe it's bringing me this so I can do this. It triggers you to take actions. Everything that happens triggers you to take an action, right? But the problem is that we react all the time so much. We don't pause. We all are. I too sometimes. We don't pause to really reflect, which is where reflective awareness comes in, to find out what is the meaning behind this? Where is this? What is the purpose of this? And then to use that. And then that's where you see that's the gift. And I promise you, there's nothing in life that you've been through that you haven't overcome. You're sitting here, you've overcome every single thing you've been through in life. That's the gift. That's how you go back and trace the gift.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk. Let's get a little lighter. Let's talk about the process of writing this book. So walk us through. In 20, but you brought a book out of this. So how did this all come to be? What was it that sparked? hey, I think I want to put this into a guide, into a manual. Yeah, just share that with us.
So, when COVID happened, and, all the social injustices that were going on in the world, people were going through with a lot of mental stress and everything. So, like, I just started reflecting on everything that was going on, like everything that everybody else was also probably experiencing. But I wanted to really find the meaning behind it and to understand why we're living through such times and what had to come out of it. Because, like I said, everything comes to grow you. You grow through everything that you go through. So I wanted to find that meaning. So all the things that, like the life situations that we're all dealing with, I used to reflect upon them every day so intensely and deeply. Yeah. And like I said, wisdom that comes through you is not from you. And it just came through, and I just start writing. And I just start recognizing that, oh, wow, it's not without the emotional attachment. Because this is the key about writing. And I hope to one day have a writing class, teach a writing class.
Okay.
If you focus on what comes through and you completely detach from your emotional connection to whatever it is, whatever comes through and you write it and it comes out the way it's supposed to. And that's when people connect with it the most. And I feel like sometimes it's touch and go, right? I'm a writer, and sometimes when I write certain things, people don't really connect. I can feel it. Yeah. And I feel like it's because I was trying so much to be perfect with it and bring it out in a way that I felt like the world needed to have it, instead of just how it was supposed to be given. Yeah. So that was the focus when I was writing this book. It was just, it started off with writing like a bunch of essays and a bunch of, compositions. I would share some on my platforms, and then like 4 years down the line, I was like, you know what? I think I have a book. I mean, and then people kept asking like, when is this book coming out? When is this book coming out? And I was like, you know what? It's time. Yeah. And I had 3 books that I actually had started writing, This one of them was on trauma. The other one was on women, which I so look forward to writing that book someday, God willing. And the other one was on healing. And so like in healing and self-connection. And so this was the one that came through the most first. And I decided to just go ahead. And so I found my publisher actually on Instagram. Oh, wow. Yes. Manuscripts Press. They're actually really awesome. I like them because they have almost like a hybrid program where you go through like all the steps of like a typical publisher, like a big name. They are a big name publisher anyways. And you work with all the different stages of editors, like, DE, that's developmental, structural. Then you go through revisions. You go through the entire process of writing a book. Yeah. But you own 100% of rights to your book. Yeah, it costs a little bit of money for sure, but you own the book. But this is yours. But this is mine. This
is Nettie's. This is hers. That is incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you
Congratulations
so much.
on this.
Thank you. So I would write, like finding time to write was so hard, so that's the one thing I'm so lucky. I have the most amazing husband. I can't even begin to tell you. Yeah, he literally took over everything so I could find time to write this book. And I would travel for work, so I'd have that little bit of space to just process. I still had to work. I still had to be a mom. I still had to do all the things that I had to do, but I had to find, he gave me that room to find that time, that quiet time. Most times when people are sleeping, I'm writing. I'm up in the middle of the night because that's when things flow, like the world is quiet. Yeah, so it was a journey. It was definitely a process, and this came.
And with what you created out of it, So in this process of writing the book, I'm just curious, because you talk about your life journey in there. This is for someone who may not be able to, or maybe struggling with a reality about themselves. Someone who just needs to learn to love themselves more, accept themselves more, navigate the world a little bit better. As you were writing this book, did any hurdles in regards to self come to the surface? And if they did, I'd love for you to share that with us.
Absolutely. Imposter syndrome, imposter syndrome, imposter syndrome. Who am I to be writing this book? Who am I to be telling the world this kind of information?
Wow.
Like, the humanity kicks in. You know, we're human and divine, and it's just unfortunate because the way our world is structured, and we're so overly critical of ourselves. Even before, people are overcritical of us because we are critical of ourselves.
Oof.
That's the truth, and that's the core of the book. The core of my book is we live disconnected from our worlds, not because we're disconnected from them, but because we don't resonate with who we are.
Wow.
And so this was like a journey for me too. Like that's why every time I read it, like I feel like I go through the motions of the healing that came through with it and everything.
Yeah.
I had to learn to accept that this was just who I was. It was my gift.
Yeah.
And there was nothing wrong with it.
Wow.
And just because maybe I wasn't structured a certain because I'm a very unconventional person. Just because I'm not a conventional person, or I'm not straight, or I don't think like that, doesn't mean that it's not valuable coming from me.
Yeah.
It came through me for a reason. And so I had to live through that acceptance of even accept that I was worthy.
Yeah.
To say, okay, I could put this out there in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a lot of mental, back and forth constraints, but I had to. That's the whole point, right? You go through the journey, that you heal, and you get the lessons, and you move forward.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, just even hearing that, I also want to take this moment to commend you on the bravery it takes to deliver something to a world that is very critical, as you mentioned, right? You have a lot of things going on in your life. You're a coach, you're a nurse, you're a wife, you're all of this, but you still took time to do this because you felt that it was important, and it was important during this time right now. And so I just want to commend you for your bravery in doing that.
Thank you.
Because not everyone can step through those doors, but you did, and you're walking through it right now. And you own the book all by yourself. By yourself.
Thank you.
I hear saying we are having a hard time hearing. Yes. How long does it take to work on self, unless you are certain you are happy with the results? Wow. How is there, okay, I like that question. Is there an arrival point to self, and how long does it take to work on self? What does that make you think of?
It's a lifetime journey.
Wow.
Working on self is a lifetime journey. The key is because you're there, whether you like it or not. And you're going to evolve, and you're going to change, and things are going to happen in your life that are going to transition you from the self that you are right now into a different self. But the key is not shaming or blaming yourself or feeling like you're displaced. It's in accepting that this is what life is giving me. This is my life.
Yeah.
What do I do with it? It's staying with that mental solution-driven mindset, like, okay, this is my life, this is what I'm being offered, how can I make the best of it? Self is a lifetime journey. It's not a one-day journey, it's not a one-year journey. There are days when you're gonna feel like, God, I just don't want to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And there are days when you'll be so elated, you won't even believe that, okay, this is really my life. And that's the wavelength of life. That's the wavelength of life. There's ups and there's downs. The rhythms of life, the polarity, the duality. So we can understand full circle what that life means to us. We're not here just to come and go through the happy times, the pleasant times, the positive times. We're here to also live through the fullness of life. That's the reason why our bodies make all those chemicals, the chemicals that make you happy, the chemicals that are released when you're sad. They're not there to harm you. They're there to help you understand what you're living through so you can use that to grow.
So if I'm understanding what you're saying, because the question mentioned results, what is the fruit of doing that work? What is the fruit of the self? How do we know that maybe we're transitioning? How do we know, or what is proof that we have learned or we are learning?
Fulfillment. Fulfillment. And fulfillment could come with you're penniless, but you feel grounded and fulfilled in your life. You feel happy about your life. You feel like even with everything going on, I'm still okay.
Wow.
I'm still valuable. I'm still valid. That's the fulfillment. That's what comes with it. That's what that's what you need.
Yeah.
Because it's not the physical manifestation, possession of it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the inner fulfillment that you feel. That's what it is. It's like, it's almost like it's feeding your soul.
Wow.
It's soul work. Because I talk about, especially like in the introduction and the first chapter, I really believe, I know that some people that are not spiritual will be like, but I do believe that we're souls just experience the human experience. I really believe that.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, there are things about you, the things about you that nobody knows, are intuitive things that come from deep within you. Nobody in this world knows you the way you know yourself. Your mother doesn't know, your parents don't know you, your friend, nobody knows you the way you know yourself. Nobody on this planet knows you the way you know yourself, because I cannot read your mind. I cannot be you.
I can't even read my mind sometimes.
So the first person that you're responsible for is you.
Yeah.
Is you. You cannot give people what you don't have. You cannot give your kids what you don't have. You cannot give your community what you don't have. So you have to give it to yourself first. Self-love. Self-accountability, self-responsibility.
Yeah.
If you're expecting it from other people, you need to give it to yourself first.
Great.
It needs to come from you first before,
That's great.
you expect it out in the world. Yeah, I really believe that. Absolutely. And we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but it's how you bounce back from your mistakes. Do you wallow in it for 3 months, or do you go through reflective awareness with it and feel your feelings and let it tell you what it's trying to tell you? I talk about some parts in the chapter where, like jealousy is just telling you something that you admire and maybe you want for yourself. Lust is just maybe saying, I need intimacy. I need to feel that connection. Every emotion comes...
Dig deeper than what is on the surface.
Bingo.
Right? Because there's something there.
There's something. Every emotion comes to tell you something. It's like data.
I love that you say that.
Yes.
It's data points.
It's really data points. Every emotion. If you think about it, if you're angry, you're angry about something. Why are you angry about that thing?
Right.
So it's information. It's information. But the thing is, it's energy in motion. And so if you don't feel it and transform it, then it stays stuck.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why we have inflammation and high levels of cortisol in our bodies, and Yeah.
I love that you mentioned, as you're speaking of that, a word comes to mind. You may know this word, you may not like this word.
That's okay.
And it's surrender. Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's a big
So I'm
word.
thinking the ebbs and flows of life, being okay with riding that wave. What have you learned, and what will we learn in this book on what it means to lean into the ebb and flow of life and yourself, as you're learning more about yourself? How, you just take us through that journey of surrender for you. I mean, there's a level of surrender to say, yes, I want to do a book, right? So tell us how do we surrender in those moments when there's the ebbs and flows?
Acceptance, full.
So it goes back to that fulfillment.
It goes back to the fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's surrendering is full acceptance of, because guess what? Whether you accept it or you don't accept it, that's the reality. You can choose to accept it or you can choose not to accept it.
That's great.
And if you choose not to accept it, you're only prolonging the inevitable same result, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
So you might as well just accept it. And I know that it's hard. It's really hard. It's a practice. That's why I talk about a lot about like change being a practice, building that habit, consistency, I don't care how little, do it every single day, because you have to restructure and rewire everything. Rewire your brain, rewire your subconscious programming, because we live 95% of our actions and choices are made from subconscious programming.
Right.
So you have to restructure it to start looking at life a different way.
Yeah.
So instead of going back to its fallback and its comfort surrender,
yes,
you're resisting. And what happens when you resist? People think when you're resisting, you're going away from something. No, when you're resisting something, you're instead pulling it closer to you. It's like
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's just the truth. It's like an elastic
Elastic
band.
band, right? Yeah.
So there's no ease. But when you let it go, when you say, okay, this is my life, this is the situation, whether I accept it or not, I still have to live through it. I'd rather live through it trying to figure out how to make the best of it than not having to make the best of it.
Yeah.
And you relax that elastic band. And then you find clarity. Because think of boiling water. It's like resisting is like boiling water. When you're boiling, you can see through. But when the water settles, then you can see through and you get more clarity. You may not like what you get.
Yeah.
But that's what you get. You accept that that's what you get from that clarity.
Yeah.
And then you use it.
Wow.
With conscious intention. Because whatever energy you put into anything, that's what you get out. That's the other big thing I talk about in this book too. Being very mindful of your energy. Because it determines what you get as well. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. There's so much to chew on in there. I don't even know how we start to dive into that. All I know is you need to get the book. You need to get this book. It's a journey from, to just learn more about yourself.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we need a little bit more of that, especially in a world that is telling us who we are.
Bingo.
Right? So I love everything that you mentioned. Something that stood out to me was, as an example, was the processes of grief.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thoughts on it, because grief is very similar, right?
It
The more you
is.
push grief away,
The more
you're stuck in it. But the moment you accept the breakup, the moment you accept the job loss, the moment you accept, things seem to start. So walk us through how that fits into the book and everything that you've learned.
So I talk about grief in the book, especially like with grieving, like, my grandmother that passed, and also like grieving like the fact that I never really had a father in my life.
Wow.
And grief is funny because it's really it's tremendous, because I feel like once you think you've been through it, you're still grieving in a sense.
Yeah.
Even. Like with the situation with I'm gonna use my example because I'm not sure what people are going through, but it's like I'm grieving the father I never had. I'm grieving the father that I have, but I can have access to. And I'm grieving the father that if I lost, I would have wanted to have. There's so many complexities when it comes to grieving.
Yeah.
But in a sense, grieving is pretty much resistance in a way. But the difference with grieving is there's a little bit of more compassion in there. So you have more self-compassion with grieving because you're not technically resisting. You're just taking a while to process what you're living through.
Wow.
It's just taking a longer route to processing your emotions, because it hit,
that's okay.
That's okay too.
Yeah.
Because it hit a core. It wasn't just a superficial pain.
Yeah.
There's different kinds of pain. We grieve when we live through pain that's just, it touches the soul, and that's what literally grief is. It's just healing. It's the path of healing. With compassion. Yeah, with self-compassion.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I know you talk about it in the book, but thank you for elevating that here in this space. I love the grace that you just mentioned that in, right? Because it's so easy for us to take the 4 steps, right, and just go apply. And what I'm learning from you in this moment is that there's still some, even in that, you need to see how it applies in that situation.
Bingo.
And you can only do that by sitting with yourself. You can only do that by acknowledging what's going on, acknowledging your circumstances, and then making a plan from there.
Absolutely. And even with the 4 steps, it's not a linear situation.
Ooh.
It's spiral. You're going to continuously re-experience detachment, reawakening, actualizing, and integrating. Even over one situation, you probably live but the difference is you're rising as you're doing that
upward,
because you're growing.
Wow, I love that.
But it's gonna be a consistent re-experiencing of that situation, but you're rising as you go through life with it. So your wisdom with it grows as you re-experience that spiral over and over. So it doesn't mean that you just go through something linearly once and then you're done. No. You're going to live through it multiple times, probably in your life. But it's just having that understanding that, okay, this is the process. This is the process. Every time I come there, I need to reevaluate. I need to figure out what I need to do, what emotions I need to detach from that, what new ones I need to create. I need to reawaken to that idea, how I need to manifest that if I want it to come into reality, and then how I can integrate that so I can have synergy with my environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. There's a question that came through, and I wanna make sure to elevate it. It says, our minds are the most dangerous and most powerful. Oh, it went up. Ooh, how do you know about, how do you choose to learn about certain parts versus other parts of your mind? Because the mind is vast, right? And
Absolutely.
we only use 90% maybe, if I remember.
We use 5% of our minds.
Yes,
95% is subconscious.
Yeah. So a trigger to pay attention. How do we choose?
It always comes to you. Whenever it comes, the problem is that we pocket stuff. Whatever you have to deal with in your life, that's whatever you're experiencing right now is what you need to be dealing with in your life.
Wow.
But the problem is that when it comes, if we're not emotionally in a space where we feel like we want to handle it, we draw or hoard it. Oh, for another day. But guess what? It's gonna keep coming in different forms, and then you wonder why that thing keeps coming, or why it's because it came the first time and you ignored it. And that's where presence comes in, which I talk about a lot in this book. Like have you thought about when you were a kid? Do you remember how you were so into wherever you were, whatever space? Because children are the most present people ever.
Yeah.
And I get that as we get into adult, and I talk about chapter 14 is all about that.
Ooh.
You know, as we get into adulthood, the distractions and everything come in, and then we forget that presence. But it just takes presence, and it's a practice. Whatever is coming right now, as I'm sitting with you right now, whatever's coming right now is what I know I have to deal with. I have to process it. I'm not going to keep it for another day. Obviously, there are certain situations where, you may have to delay to process something. Yeah. We live in a world where there's etiquette and I get that. But the key is, don't push it intentionally, because your mind is very smart, and your body is very smart. If I have to push something on the side because I can't process it right now, my body knows. Yeah. But the minute I have the opportunity to, it will come back, and then I have to. So that's that presence. Presence is the key. Like, if you have to, life brings you what it brings you. Look at it like, this is where I am right now. Be present with it, and then process it as best as you can. With conscious intention. With conscious intention.
So much in that. And that's not even diving into the book. I mean, reading this. I mean, I can't wait for the masses to get this in their hands as we get to a close. And feel free to put any questions you have in the chat as we're closing. How has this felt, the feedback you've received so far?
It's been so overwhelmingly positive. Wow. And I'm just so grateful. I have to tell you, I'm so grateful. And it's not even like I'm a pride grateful. It's a fulfillment grateful. It's translating. People are actually receiving the message. Yeah. That's this book is just a message. It's not from me. Wow. And it's overwhelming. Honestly, it really is overwhelming. And the fact that somebody can pick it up and read and say, oh wow, it really made me think about this about my life. And I've been thinking about this a lot. Yeah. And maybe it will help me make a change. You just never know, and it may not be today, and that's the whole purpose of it, right? And that's why I love thought leadership, because it makes you to think, right? You pick it up, and even if you read something and you don't want to, you're gonna think about it later on.
Yes.
You're gonna think about it later on, and the whole key is to add value. And there's been an outpour of just people saying it's really amazing. It adds value. It makes me really think about my life, and that's the key. And I'm really happy about that. I really am.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I mean, as someone who got a little bit of this, I know that my life has been impacted in a positive way because of it. So thank you again for the bravery it took to write this and share this message. It's something that we all need, and I love what you mentioned in the beginning, that no matter what page you go into this book, there's value for you. You could be at the doctor's office and pick this up. Bet you there's value in there. You could be on your bedroom floor crying about a situation. There's value in here as well. So
just from one page. If you read just one page, that's all you even need. Trust me, there's value in there. So I actually encourage people are not readers. I'm like, just read a page or two. You know, just read a chapter every night or something. You know, you don't have to read. The chapters are not that long, so you can just read a chapter. Literally,
and it's an easy read. It's an easy read, but it lets you think about yourself. See, easy read, but still thoughtful.
That was intentional.
That's great.
Intentional. I really want to talk about the book cover though, because that was so
Let's end with the book cover. Let's talk about it.
Yes,
it is okay. So I don't know if you can see this, but why don't you go ahead and describe to us what we're looking at?
So I did this shoot in Peru. I recently went to Peru for a spiritual retreat, and one of my cohorts actually was a professional photographer, and I actually had a vision about the cover of this book, and it was exactly like this, the main person in the front. And I told him, hey, it was a very quick shoot. It was like 30 minutes. You wouldn't even believe it was so easy. I just got dressed and we just went outside, and then he was like, stand here. But I knew the vision. So I did a poll because I was trying to figure out, I don't know if you can see, there's 3 different images over there.
Yep.
And there's like there's a smiling one, and then there's one that's my eyes closed, and then there's the one in the center. And people gravitated towards one or the other, but my mind, I always knew I wanted this. Because that's the vision that came through, and I wanted to honor that. But then when I did the poll, I was like, you know what? This book is, the whole idea of this book is about duality. Trilogy.
Look at
Heal,
that.
love, grow. You know, there's so many different things how you can, pain, pleasure, balance.
Yeah.
There's so many. So I was like, let me integrate that into the cover.
Wow.
And then I wanted the cover to be art. I'm a creative person. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. I love style. I love fashion. I love creativity. I love colors. I love design. So this is very intentional. Where even if somebody doesn't want to read the book, it's something beautiful to look
beautiful,
at.
Yeah.
That's
the colors, yes.
Yeah, like a painting or something.
Yeah.
So that was very intentional too.
I love that. You're doing the thing you wanted to do in the book on the book.
Absolutely.
I think that's incredible. It's a great representation of all of us, and just living with that duality, that it's okay to have those different facets and navigating through that. Where can we get this book?
Ooh, before I tell you where you can get this book, I have to say, because we're ending, shout out to Rick.
Let's go.
Thank you so much, Dimitri, for helping me put this together. This is amazing, amazing. Shout out to all my backers, because this is not possible without my backers. I know that, I can't even tell you. I raised $10,000 from backers.
Wow.
To be able to print this book.
Incredible.
Which is the first wave to send out, and they all have a copy.
Incredible.
I am eternally grateful to them, because we wouldn't be here without them. So to all my backers, you're awesome. Absolutely awesome. Shout out to Manuscripts Press and all my editors that I worked with.
Yes.
I really appreciate your guidance. I became so much more better writer because of them.
That's good.
That's just the truth. You know? And I really appreciate, and shout out to all my supporters throughout the year, people that pushed me every day, told me that, what I was doing was valuable, and even if I didn't see it tangibly. So I really appreciate that. It was very encouraging.
Wow.
Absolutely very encouraging.
Wow.
Now where you can get the book.
And we have some more fun stuff to talk about. But yes. Where can we get this book?
Amazon is finally launched on Amazon. You can go Amazon, click. Everything is within. It's paperback, hardback, and the ebook as well.
Yes.
They're all available today on Amazon.
Beautiful.
If you order in bulk, like if you have a little bookstore or somebody that wants to, you can order from Ingram. It's probably cheaper. And you can get a bulk order from that. I'm working with my PR agent to start getting it into bookstores, hopefully local bookstores.
So you may see this in your bookstores.
You may see this soon in your
bookstores. You will see this in your bookstores.
Yes,
How about that?
There you go.
There we go.
We're gonna speak it to existence.
Yes.
We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna manifest it. Bookstores, and I'm hoping to, maybe start getting into like book clubs. So if you have a book club and you're needing a book on wellness or just transformation or growth, personal growth, I would love to join your book club. Just let me know. I would absolutely love to join your book club so we could discuss the book in detail as much as you would want. And, my plan is moving forward, I'm going to do webinars.
Yes.
So we can discuss each chapter in depth.
That's great. So taking a group of people on that journey.
Exactly.
Wow, I love that.
So it'd be like we grow together. Because the whole purpose of this journey, I want to grow with people. I want to heal with people. I want to love with people. Because I feel like if you do it together, anything that's done as a community, it grows exponentially.
Yeah.
Because you piggyback off of each other, and then there's the collective growth. And the world needs that right now.
Yeah.
The world really needs that right now.
Wow. Well, to purchase this, you can go. We just launched a new website, right?
Yay.
So, to learn more about Nettie, what she's about, to get in contact with her, go to www.withinwithnettie.com. That's NETTIE, withinwithnettie.com. One more thing, because I'm seeing you wearing something.
Yeah.
I'm seeing you wearing something. And it's cute. It's in a color I like. It's in a color I like.
Thank you.
So tell me about what you're wearing.
So, I'm a fashion girl.
Yes.
I love style.
Yes.
I live for style. And I've always wanted to have a line for something. I just know that it's in my future. I didn't know how. And so when this came about, I was like, you know what? My cousin, which is your brother, he has a line, Greatness Gear, and I thought about, doing a collab with him so we could do something, because I really want to do like the, impactful quotes in the book so people can wear it out there knowing that with that confidence, everything is within me. I have the capacity to be sad and happy, but I'm still okay. It's a part of my human experience.
Wow.
So I decided to do this. This is the first of
gorgeous.
Hopefully many to come.
Yeah.
Everything. I have several colors, and we'll have it on the website.
Yeah.
By the end of the month, we'll have a big stock on the website.
So we'll be able to purchase.
Be able to purchase on the website.
Great.
Yes.
So y'all, everything is within. How cute is that? How cute is that? I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this with us. Thank you for doing this. I cannot wait to see the return on the work that you've put in. I mean, it's already impacted so many lives. And I can't wait to see how much more it will. So y'all, look out for Nettie. Check out the website. She's going to be opening up some coaching spots as well. So we want to make sure, especially in line of the book, I think it's so important to have a guide go with you through it. So if that's where you find yourself, just reach out. Reach out, send a contact form to her. She'll give you some details. But once we post this, we'll put some details in the caption about how you can contact Nettie. But this has been so great. Anything you want to leave us with?
Oh my God, I'm just so thankful and so grateful, and I appreciate your engagement. I never ever take it for granted. I need you guys to know that. You can follow my other work. I'm on Instagram as Within, just Within, obviously.
Yes.
I share content there on, personal development and just mindset and growth and healing and loving and growing. So if you're into that and you're needing that in your life, you can always stop by my page. Just the fact that people even go and watch and read, it sometimes like I said, imposter syndrome, but it's necessary, and I'm so happy. And I just want to also thank all the creators out there whose work inspired me. Like a lot of creators, I'm telling you, you'd be amazed. People that I also follow on IG and on socials, and like books that I've read. Dr. Gabon Mate, oh my God, his book was just divine. I'm just so grateful that we live in a time and a culture where there's access to all these things. So I'm also always available. If you need a quick chat, you can just chat me, send me a quick DM maybe on Instagram, or you can email me, and then we could take it from there and see if maybe we can move to like a coaching session or something. But I'm available, so just let me know.
Well, everything is within, Nettie.
Tell you. This girl is amazing. She's an amazing marketer. Like, I really, like, it's one thing to find somebody to work with that really gets your vision, but not only your vision, that also gets you.
Yeah.
Because the product ends up becoming what you really want. Yeah. And I really appreciate you for that. I really do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you. You're going to see us turn this off, so we're not going to disappear right now. You're going to see us go in the back and turn this off. But thank you for tuning in. We will post this, so you'll be able to go back and rewatch it. Mm-hmm. Make sure you get a copy of this. This will change everything that you know. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye, y'all. We're going to figure out how to turn this on, but for now, you can watch us smile. This is how bloopers...